All right, folks, we're going to be replacing the stock fuel pump on the 109 with a quantum fuel pump. This was about 80 bucks. And it comes with a fuel filter. It's black and blue, which is really cool. And here's the fuel filter. I meant if I said otherwise. Here's the fuel filter that comes with it. And we're going to replace that as well. All right, so here's the two. This should be a direct fitment. I'm hoping it is. And should be able to go ahead and button this all back up together and get this saga over with. If you haven't seen how we got to this point with the 109's fuel assembly, you can easily click up here at the top right and see the previous videos on how we got here. But this is the fuel assembly, and I'm going to put the new fuel pump in, and it should only take 30 minutes, if that. And I'm going to start the bike up and see what it does. Also, my drink of the night is going to be Guinness. I wish I could drink it right from the factory, but this is the best we got here in America, so. Or drinking it on tap, but yeah. So of course I'm gonna check my previous work and make sure everything is tightened and nothing's like weirdly out of place. I could have replaced these O-rings. I think they're fine. I'm not gonna worry about it, but everything is where it needs to be. I'm gonna go ahead and slap this all back together, so. Well, it's down there. Well, it just rolled away. So the way that this works is the fuel pump is gonna sit in this little chamber. Nope, it's gonna go this way. It's gonna go this way because the electrical connection is on this side. And also that little port is gonna go in that rubber boot. That's where we're gonna, that sends fuel down to the regulator and out through the fuel rail. So we're gonna slide that in there. Please fit. Dear God, please fit. Uh-oh. Like it didn't want to fit. All right, I was tripping. It actually does fit. I had to finagle it a little bit. That hooks in like that. And it's gonna slot like that. I don't remember if the ground wire goes on top or bottom. Pretty sure it probably goes on the bottom, and it doesn't, I don't think it matters. So I'm gonna put the ground wire in between the bracket and the assembly. And we're gonna screw it back down and we're gonna be good to go. All right, so this is where we are currently. The thermal resistor is that little cable that goes on top of the fuel pump. It just felt better putting it on top. I changed my mind about that ground wire. There is a little lip on that screw that holds it in. So I put it in on the top, and you can see that little lip right there. It keeps it from moving. So I don't really think it matters. I did check these electrical connections right here because I did accidentally knock one out. I made sure that those were pressed in firmly. And now I'm gonna put the fuel pump, fuel filter boot right there. Fuel filter sits in that when it's mounted. I'm gonna put that back on after I put the fuel filter on right there at that end. See that little tab in the center? That's what's gonna hold it. And I'm gonna slap this baby back together. This looks like an exact one actually. Which is good. All right, this fuel filter, these things are always a little struggle to get on. Now I got it, I'm just gonna use these grips and just kind of squeeze that into place, I guess. I'm not sure why they put these in here because everything went back as it was supposed to, but this is the completed assembly with the new fuel pump and filter. There's the filter. I couldn't get that little piece to sit on top of that little gray piece. I couldn't get that to go on. It took a lot to get that filter on. I don't think it's gonna come off. It's on there very snug, but the zip tie is there. There was a stock zip tie there to hold the regulator return line, and basically when the regulator puts fuel back, it puts it back into the fuel filter, and then the fuel filter pumps it back up into the pump. So yeah, this is complete. So I'm gonna put it back in the bike, and hopefully it primes and we're able to start the bike. I think this rotates like this. I think that should be it. So when you're installing this back, the fuel line is gonna be when the tank is positioned correctly. The fuel line is going to be on the left side and the electrical connection on the right. So like I said, you got 5 screws here. I don't remember the torque specs, but when you tighten them down, you'll know. Don't over tighten them, but tighten them. I'm not going to torque them down because more likely I'm going to take this thing off again. I should have replaced the seal because I've done it so many times, taking this thing on and off so many times, but I think I'm going to save this for, I might do it in another 1,000 miles and just do it, and also replace those O-rings that I should have on the fuel pump regulator. But right now, I'm going to slap this thing back together and see if it's going to prime and do everything it needs to do. All right, I went ahead and looked up the torque specs for those. It's actually 7 pound-feet, so it don't take much. So I'm just gonna hand tighten these and gonna be good to go. A thing to remember when putting these on is that you don't want to tighten them down in a circular pattern. You want to do it in a star pattern because you don't want to warp the seal behind here. So I'll put them on like barely hand tighten in this motion, and then I'm gonna go back and tighten them down in the star pattern as well. Because again, you don't want to warp the seal. All right, that's done. Now put the fire shield back on. The warm shield, I don't know what the hell, whatever shield this is. Some tabs. Like I said, the one down here, fold it up, it goes like that. That holds it in. And I'm pretty sure this little extra tab right here, this is something for California, I'm pretty sure, for the fuel system, but like, I guess extra vapors or something, I don't know. Chime in if you know. All right, time to put it back on the bike and see if she primes, man. Let's do it. All right, when we put this back, that's the fuel line. Like I said, when the tank is oriented correctly, the fuel line from the tank is pointing that way, so we can hook in there. And there's the electrical line. And the only reason I have this here is because it's magnet and it helps raise the tank up so I can connect these. All right, the beautiful thing about this tank being light. So there's not a lot of gas in it. Like I said, this thing is a godsend. Sit it there. Tank doesn't go anywhere. And so we're gonna connect the fuel line and the electrical line. There we go. Being difficult for some reason. There's not a lot of fuel in here, so I'm gonna let this down. I'm gonna go ahead and plug the speedo up while I'm at it, just because that's connected right there, and it hooks in right there. This little guy right here. On second thought, I'm gonna raise this back up because I want to make sure there's no leaks. And of course, a sip of Guinness for good luck. Here we go. Bike's on, in neutral. I don't know what this fuel pump sounds like when it primes, but we're about to find out. It primed. Do it again. Uh-oh. It's not doing it again. Let's do this. Put the bike off one more time. Make sure it's got fuel in it, in the pump. All right, so there's no leaks here, so I'm gonna let this down. Pull that from under there. Oh, let that down a little too hard, but you're okay. I think that's exactly where it needs to be. I'm gonna start this up briefly. There's not a lot of gas. Ah, wait, the battery's dead. So the battery on the bike is dead. I forgot. It has, it's been a little weak because of the cold. So we do know that the fuel pump does prime. There's no leaks, so I'm pretty sure it does work. So the question now is, once I do get the bike started, is it going to perform as I'm expecting it to, meaning no stutters or anything on the highway? So we're gonna leave that for another day, but that is the bike pretty much put back together. I'm gonna put the side panels back on. I'm gonna move it over and get it charged and start it up tomorrow. And we're gonna see what it does when I get it back on the highway. So yeah, If you haven't seen all the carnage that's been happening to this bike up until this point, you can click this video right here and it'll take you straight to it. But as always, thanks for listening to my story. And if you're subscribed, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.